Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Thought I'd try to crank a video out before Christmas. I had planned on doing some earlier, but I've got a lot of exciting new news. I got a new job I'm starting Monday. Much better job. Something that I've been wanting to do for some time. I'll talk about it later in another vlog, but the money's outstanding, even better than the last job, substantially. And still hasn't hit me yet, so I'm really excited about it. So I've been racing around trying to get last minute stuff done, getting haircuts and buying work clothes, and it fits. And so I put so much weight on it, I gotta get bigger pant sizes all over again. But I'll lose it quick with this job. So anyway, I've been wanting to do a pickups video for the last several months that I've been absent, and I have a few gifts as well I thought I'd share. So I'll start off with the strategy guides. Actually, I had a good friend of mine, Vinny, over in Idaho Falls, Idaho. I haven't met him yet. We've talked. We've really good friends. We have a lot in common. Kind of on the same page in regards to life and what have you. And he surprised me and just out of the clear blue sky sent me some strategy guides. He knows I'm collecting them. So he sent me Stuntman. Is this Ignition? Stuntman Ignition? No, it's just Stuntman, I guess. I need to get the game now. I used to have it years ago along with everything else, and I got rid of it. He sent me Syndicate. Now, when I first got this game, Prima Games was in Roseville, right next door to where I used to get all my paint from all my jobs. And they went out of business, but right before they did, this wasn't available when I first bought this Syndicate from Starbreeze Studios. And you had to buy a digital. For $20 I paid for a digital. It's the only one I've ever bought, for a Prima digital guide. So I'd have to stop, pause the game on the couch, race into my office in the other room, go through the computer, put in the password, get it all up and running, and to see the thing that I needed to do to beat the boss or whatever. It was ridiculous. And I've never done enough. That's why I hate online guides. I just can't stand them. Even if you had a tablet or a phone right there, it's not the same. I like a fucking guide. I can sit on the toilet and enjoy it. I can enjoy it in bed while my wife is watching videos or whatever. But anyway, they didn't have this initially, and I was shocked that they made it. They must have made it months after the game came out because it was not available. I always bought with every game. If it had a strategy guide, I bought the game with it. And they'd usually give you like a 20% discount if you bought the guide the same day the game came out. But anyway, I'm really happy to have this. Thank you, Vinny, so much for this. I've been looking for this for years. I had no idea they had one. Road Rash Jailbreak. This is a real surprise. I actually found the game a couple years ago with my good friend Steve. We went to a really cool gaming expo in San Jose, kind of in someone's backyard, but there were a couple editors from IGN that were there and other people I had seen on YouTube. But it was a kind of a mom and pop setup in someone's backyard with food and drinks, and everyone was selling, old PS1 games and Saturn games and old consoles and 3DOs and everything. It was pretty cool. But I saw the game and finally bought it. I always wanted to get the PlayStation 1 game, but I'd never had it. And he knew that I had it and knew that I liked the Road Rash series and sent me this. Vinny, thank you so much. This is a real treat, having this Road Rash thing. I'd like to see if they've got a Road Rash 3D strategy guide. I may have to increase my list of guides I want to get. And let me try to think. I had a friend of mine that helped me to get some guides. I have Jeremy that usually helps me to get a lot of guides. He's got a lot of guides he's holding for me right now, like 2 big boxes filled with them. I can't wait to show those when I catch up with him. I've got to get back on track with giving him money so he can continue getting the games and the few guides that I have left to get. But anyway, he's holding a shitload, which I'm anxious to show in the future. But I had another friend that helped me with a couple guides I couldn't find, and he found them. I don't know if he found them locally or online, but my friend Al helped me to get Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Now, I had this guide at one time with the PlayStation 2 game. Now I've got the original Xbox game, which is much better graphics, and it's also backwards compatible on the Xbox One X or Series X or Series S, which is pretty cool. So the graphics look far superior in the Xbox version. You can actually read the subtitle text. It's not jagged like it is in the PS2. And the graphics and lighting look really good on it. So I got this one. He helped me to get the Punisher too. I've been looking for this for years and I could not find this. So this is a very cool guide. So I'm really happy with both of these. They're kind of holy grail type items for me. So thank you, Al, for making my dream possible, getting these finally. I've looked for years for that Punisher guide, and either it's torn or it's missing things, or I think I found one that was really thrashed and I didn't want to buy it, so no, I'd hold off for a good one. And then other ones I'd go to get online and someone would buy them off from eBay and they were gone. What else? I had I think I had, yeah, I had Max Payne 2, the guide. I had both of these at one time for Max Payne 1 and 2. And then I think Jeremy helped me find this, or maybe I found this, I don't remember, a few years ago. But I've been waiting to find the original one. Well, they had a sale at my little local mom and pop retro store, and these were like all $2.99. I was floored. There was a couple that were like $4 or $5, but this was $2.99. Max Payne for $2.99, the guide. Hell of a deal. Really happy with that. This I got for $2.99, Delta Force Black Hawk Down. I also have the game as well. I think I bought the game with the guide at the retro store. They had both of them, ironically. This is a game that I've always wanted to get. And in fact, my friend helped me get this game. My friend Al helped me to get the game to go with this. I found this at my retro store, and I've always wanted to play this Second Sight game. Really cool, kind of a ESP kind of thing, and you can use your mind to you know, put people in a trance to get past them, kind of a stealth type game, but really cool. I've always wanted to play this. Now I've got the game and the guide. I think I'm going to show the game here somewhere. This is a very expensive book. Not so much a holy grail, but just really hard to get. I mean, most of the copies of these are well over $100. They're really expensive, and I just couldn't rationalize paying that kind of money. Well, I went in there and looked, and some guy had just traded that night in a whole pile of guides, which a lot of these are ones that I got from this fellow that traded all the guides in. Well, he had this Rise of the Tomb Raider, which initially was an Xbox One exclusive for a year, and then they came out with a definitive edition on the PlayStation 4. And that version, they were planning on doing a definitive edition guide with all the new DLC, and they had some new game modes that were in there that they were going to have in the guide, and for whatever reason, they canceled the guide at the last minute. So making this very rare and popular. They didn't make a lot of these. I got this for $15. I would have paid $80 or $100 for this if I had to, because I do have the guide for the 2013 Tomb Raider, the reboot, and I've got a nice hardbound guide for the Shadow of the Tomb Raider that my good friend Cameron of Industrial Gamer gave me for Christmas a couple of years ago. But this is a great guide, and it has all the controls for the Xbox inside. But beautiful pictures, gorgeous artwork. This is really a nice book, and I can see why the price in this is stayed up. So now I actually have all, this kind of shows where all the hidden things are, and it tells you about the upgrades and your weapons and what have you. So these guides are valuable. I don't just collect them, I actually use them and enjoy them. They had a really good deal. This, I think I paid $4.99, a little bit more for this one, and that's Lara Croft Tomb Raider Legend. This is a great game. I think I've got the Tomb Raider Trilogy for the Xbox 360 and maybe for the PlayStation 3 too, I'm not sure, that has all of these kind of remastered, you know, for the PlayStation 3. They were PS2 games. But I'm thrilled to have this. I'm trying to get all of the Underworld is the other one I want to get, the guidebook for that eventually, which I think I used to have and don't have anymore. They also had a couple Hitman guides, Hitman Blood Money, which I used to have this guide years ago, and Contract. So it's nice to have these back. I think I'm missing one other Hitman that's part of the Hitman trilogy that I'd like to get. And then this was a gift from my friend Jeremy. I think it's from Jeremy, or maybe I found it at the site. No, Jeremy's getting me Dead Rising 2, I think. But I did find this at my local store, Dead Rising. It's got a big crease in the back. Again, I don't care. As long as all the pages are there, excuse me, and I can read the guide and see everything fine, I'm fine with it. So those are my guides that I got. I love my strategy guides. I really enjoy them. It just kind of augments each game. And when I look at the game, you see things in a game, you look at the cover and the little booklet inside, and that's really all you have is tangible items that you can look through. But when you have a guide, it usually has concept art in there, and it has really good top-down map views of whole levels, and it really gives you a different perspective as how you go through the levels, and you can either use them and read ahead. You know, I try not to get into spoiler territory with guides, but if I get stuck looking for collectibles, typically I'll usually refer to a guide. It just makes it so much easier. If you try to find all those 100 packages on Grand Theft Auto Vice City without a guide, you might spend 100 hours trying to find them all. Some of them are really well hidden, but with a guide it really makes it easy and kind of saves you time for collectible hunts. And what else? I've got a few gifts also. I had, my good friend Michael, who sent me some limited run Star Wars games previously for the previous Christmas. He sent me this Republic Commando. game. Thank you, Michael, for this. He's got some other stuff he's holding for me too, which I gotta. He said when you get on your feet, he's holding a really cool upscaler thing. So you take older game consoles like the N64 or GameCube, what have you, and it will upscale the signal to go to like HDMI for these modern TVs. So that way, if you can't find an analog TV, at least you can play the older games. So he's holding that for me until I get the money. I'm going to buy it off him. He got it for himself, and then he found a really killer analog Trinitron, and so he didn't need it anymore. He said, Dean, if you want to buy, I'll sell it to you for what I've got in the thing. And so he's been really a good friend, good technical ideas. He's going to help me mod a PlayStation 1, one of my fat. I've got a couple of the fat model PS1s, and as well as a newer one, and the slim variety. And so he's going to help me to mod a PlayStation 1 that where you can play off the disc, or you can play the ROMs and play a lot of rare games that are really hard to get or very expensive now. You can play off the ROMs with a kind of a digital chip set that goes inside. So we're going to work on that together. He's researching it for himself as well. Anyway, Michael, thank you for this Republic Commando. And I appreciate all the other games as well. Very cool. What else? I had my friend Al sent me some gifts. Here they are. Here we go. He just sent me this just the other day. I was thrilled to find this, and that's the Doom Slayers collection. This is the 2016 Doom, plus it has a 2001 and 2 and Doom 3 all on the same in the same package. Now, unfortunately, they're codes. You get the Doom 2016s on disc, and then Doom 1, 2, and 3 sadly are codes. Kind of like the Game of the Year of Fallout 4, the same kind of a concept, but it's just nice to have them in one package. And it also came with a really cool Doom poster, which is very cool. I'm going to lay this flat and get all the wrinkles out of it. Usually I lay them flat for like a month with books on them until they're completely flat and all the wrinkles are gone. And comes with a Doom poster, which I'm definitely going to frame this for my garage. Really nice, really cool. And it comes with a controller overlay, like a sticker set, kind of like what I put on my Xbox One X, with kind of a sticker on the console. They have a sticker in here that's for the actual your PS4 controller. It's an overlay set that you can put right over make a custom Doom controller, which is pretty cool. Good 3M Scotch Cal decals too, which are pretty nice. Plus it came with a code for all three of the games on the back. So now I've got two Doom 2016s. But thank you very much, Al, for this. This is my Christmas gift he just sent. I just got it in the mail the other day, so I really appreciate this, Al. Very thoughtful. He also sent me this Mark Wahlberg Lone Survivor based on kind of true events. I don't know if the guy is like a Special Forces, Navy SEAL type dude or Airborne Ranger or something, but it looks really cool. He knows I like war movies, so he sent this to me, which I really appreciate, Al. Thank you. He knew I was missing Black Ops 3. I've never played it, and I've never had it, so he got me a used copy of this. I've got this downloaded in my PlayStation 4. Thanks, Al. I appreciate it. And what else? Oh, he made me some manuals. He knows that from some of my rants about my games, that most of the games I try to get them all complete with the manual and with the case as much as possible, with few exceptions. But I do have a few that I don't have the factory manuals, and one of them was Just Cause. So he says, well, I got a program online, Dean, I can print them out on my printer, and I'll just make them for you. So he actually printed me out, and it fits perfect inside a Just Cause. It's a different paper than what would have been printed, like in a litho print. But it has all the instructions, it's got all the pages and color, everything, which is very cool. So thank you, Al. It's such a nice, thoughtful thing. He did it for a couple of my games. There was only one that the program didn't have the game, and it's one of my rare Xbox World War II games. I can't remember the name of it, but he did help me with the other ones. He knew I was missing the Turning Point Fall of Liberty. He knew I was missing the manual for that and the inserts that came with the original game, because initially I kind of button map write my own controls I get offline. And so he found me the manual in a used game. It was really cheap, like a couple bucks or something. The game's not a real highly expensive or popular game, but it came with really cool kind of Nazi propaganda posters that fit that universe in the game. Comes with really nice, kind of black and white pages, but still very cool. So it's nice to finally have back, and it has in French too, a French insert for the controls. So I've got that finally. Now that game is complete with the manual. And my last one for the manual, this game is getting expensive. I'm surprised it is expensive because I used to see it plentiful pretty much anywhere, and that's Manhunt 2. So it's one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games of all time. I've beaten it several times and even unlocked all of the special bonus levels. Well, this is a very cool manual that comes with this, and I was going to buy another one, and I can't find them, or they're really expensive online on eBay. More than what I'd feel comfortable paying. I think I paid like $7.99 for this, but it was missing the manual. So he printed me out a full color Rockstar manual. It looks like kind of like doctor's notes, like a notebook. And that's what's kind of cool about it. And it has all these kind of medical exam pictures because the guy was a psychopath in like a mental institution, which is what the plot of the game is. So now finally there's 3 games that didn't have manuals that now have them. Again, I don't care if they're the original manuals. I just want to know what was in it, what came with the game. And if I can look and see the graphics or see the button controls or anything that's pertinent, it's just nice to have them. So I don't get hung up, oh, I got to have all black labels, no greatest hits. I got to have the factory manuals, and they got to be perfect. I have some manuals with the pages or front pages torn on them. I don't care. I'm just happy to have the games relatively complete, pretty clean as much as possible. Not all of them are mint, but they're pretty clean. Once I clean up all the stickers off and with my rubber cement secret on that, which all of these pretty much had stickers on them, they really clean up nice. So again, Al, thank you so much for these games, for making the manuals, and then for these games here. I really do appreciate it quite a bit. He's been a really good friend lately. When I'm sick with COVID, he checks on me all the time and asks how I'm doing, which is very thoughtful of him. Do I have any other? Yes, I think that was it. I'll quickly get into some pickups then. I got this Observer game. This just came out recently, this redo. All new, I think it's like a 2017 or 18 game. They may have much better graphics now, and it looks amazing. So I played just the beginning of this just to see how the graphics looked. Very cool game, Observer. It's got Rutger Hauer right before the poor fellow passed away, which is very cool. I had to have that game. I've been wanting to get it for some time, and I'm glad I waited and got this version. I had the State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition, but I didn't have the second State of Decay, and I found that recently really cheap for like $4 or $5. Now, this isn't the Juggernaut edition. I think I have to get it's like a $29.99 digital upgrade, which you have to get through the Microsoft Store or whatever, so I'll probably get that eventually. But I really want to play the first one first and then play the second one later. Really good RPG with zombies and kind of buggy and a little clunky, the gameplay from what I understand, but it looks good for me. I mean, I'm happy. I don't care if frames get dropped or you get some stuttering once in a while. I'm pretty forgiving with most of these games, but it's been known for a lot of buggy issues, but apparently they kind of redid 1 and 2 and cleaned them up with new patches, and they play a lot better, not as buggy as they were. Okay, what else? I've got, oh yeah, I got some original Xbox games. A lot of these were really cheap on sale, like $2.99 each. Some were even $1.99. I got this Room Zoom Race for Impact, another really cool game. It's kind of a racing, very arcadey type game, but it's like you're playing in your bedroom. I have this Slot Car Thunder, which is very similar, but it's that kind of a game, and just a nice racing game. I try to collect as many of the racing games for the original Xbox as I can because it's one of my favorite genres, and a lot of these I really am anxious to play them and try them out. Constantine always looked very fascinating to me. I've never played this, but it looks like something I would enjoy. I think it has some big name actors in it, if I remember right. Can't remember who was in this, but a really good game. So I wanted to get that. Here's that Second Sight game that I found, and my friend Al helped me to locate this for me. So I really appreciate that, Al. Thanks so much. This is a hard one to get. It was at my store, and I went home to research it. I went back to go out the next day, and someone bought it. It was gone. So that's what happens. Sometimes you got to dive on them real quick if they're games that you're looking for. Star Trek Conquest, I already have Encounters, but I wanted to get this PlayStation 2 Star Trek game. I've never played this one. I don't know too much about it. I think I watched one or two old reviews years ago on this, and I'm intrigued by it. This next one is a PlayStation 2 game, which was the first Tomb Raider game that I had played on the PlayStation 2. I had played the earlier, like Tomb Raider 1 and 2. I never played the third one or the fourth or fifth one on the PlayStation 1. But my mother remarried, and I call him my father-in-law. I don't know if technically that's the right name, but he's a gamer. He's in his 80s now. He was in his late 70s when I used to know him and hang out with him. But he played this, and I got stuck down there during a snowstorm and played this for a week and loved this game, even though it's not one of the better Tomb Raider games, and that's Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness. Now, the platforming can be kind of sticky. You have to get it just right. It reminds me of Duke Nukem Time to Kill, where you got to have your little guy lined up just right to things to where he can attach himself to it or jump or platform. But it looks like a great game. I got pretty far into it. I never beat the game at his house. I left before I had a chance to finish it. But when I left, I never could remember what the name of it was. And I kept going through all these reviews of old Tomb Raider games, and I finally saw that. I go, that's the one, Angel of Darkness. So this is one that my friend Al helped me find. He has a local place up near his place that had some of the games, and then he has a place online where he can find some of these too. So again, Al, thank you very much for helping me to find this. I've been looking for years to get this because it was one of my favorite games at the time, and I've just never got back to it. So it's so cool to have this back in my collection. Or actually never had it in my collection, but nice it'll be great to play it again, where I really miss playing the game. I found this other game, and I thought I had all the Star Wars games for the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox, but I was wrong. And I saw this Star Wars Clone Wars Republic Heroes. It was like $6.99, like $7 or $8 if I remember right. And I jumped on this. I didn't know about this game at all. Like, wow, this is a Star Wars game I didn't know. And what's ironic is it has kind of their Pixar animation, the animated Clone Wars series, which I have on DVD. I've got all 4 seasons or 5, 6, whatever many seasons I have them. I've got them all. And then I got the Star Wars Rebels as well. So I jumped on this. I showed my friend Jeremy the night that I bought it. And he goes, oh, you can get that on the 360 too. I'm like, oh, really? If I had known that, I would have held out. If it's a multi-plat and you have a chance to play it on the original Xbox or in the Xbox 360, like The Godfather, or like Need for Speed, Most Wanted, I always choose the Xbox 360 or the newer HD version if possible. But I'll keep it anyway. It's nice. At least I'll have all the Star Wars games for the PlayStation 2. And I went back, and it took me a while. They didn't have it for several weeks, and about a month later I went back, and they had Star Wars Clone Wars Republic Heroes for the Xbox 360. So really thrilled to have that. In fact, I still got the receipt in here. The manual, the whole deal. Very cool. This was like an ex-library. You can tell it was like a video rental place. There's a number with a Sharpie on there. I'm going to try some rubbing alcohol and see if I can get that off. But really thrilled to have this. It didn't get the greatest reviews. It's kind of simplistic for some people, but I like it. I like the Star Wars Clone Wars. I thought they were really a nice animated series. I like the characters quite a bit. It'll be nice to have that in my library. When I get over here, I've got these over here. I got, this is another one my friend Al helped me to get. This is pretty common. They would have this at my local stores, but they haven't had it in some time. And that's the Warhammer 40K Space Marine. Now, just a few days ago, they showed finally, like 10 years later, whatever it is, I think this was maybe 2010, I'm guessing, there's going to be a new with the same logo, the same Captain Titus. They're going to have a Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2. And man, the trailer looks fantastic. I'm really excited about it. So I'm really elated to have this in my library, and now even more excited to play it now that the new one's coming. So this I've had sitting on my coffee table. I've been trying to sit down and play this for quite a while, and then I got sidetracked with the GTA Trilogy. But this will be one of the next 360 games I'm going to play. I'm really excited to play this. Jurassic Park, I finally found this. I've been looking for this forever, and with the help of a friend, I got this Jurassic Park the game. This is one of the only Telltale games I really was interested in, aside from the Walking Dead ones, which I do have. So it wasn't received really well when it first came out, but I really like this, and this is going up in price. This is getting hard to find and getting expensive when you can find it. This is when I remember the day this came out. There were tons of trailers that EA had, and that's just Dante's Inferno. In fact, it says "Go to Hell" on the back of the box. It's a really demonic and very risque video, very adult. There's a lot of nude, men and women in this, and just lots of sexual, stuff in this, and really twisted stuff as well. And it's like the Dante's Inferno, which is a book with all the different layers of hell that you go through for each of the major sins, and it looks really good. I'd like to get the strategy guide for this now that I've seen this, and I put this in and played a little bit of it. Really good graphics. I really like this game a lot. I'm anxious to play it more. Here's a Black Hawk Down game that I found. Like, again, $2.99 or $1.99, dirt cheap, all complete. And the manual, it's like it had never been played. It looks like a brand new game. And I had the 2005 Colin McRae Rally. This was the original Roots of the Dirt series, but I was missing the '04 one, which I wanted. I think there's an '03 one too. So I jumped on this. I got this for a couple of dollars more. This might have been like $4.99. It was a little bit more expensive, I think, but really happy to have both of these in my collection for the Xbox collection. And this I already have. I bought this today. It came out in special order. This is my Max Payne 3. I had this out because I actually installed this morning in my Xbox One X. Solid raved about the fact just right before I was filming this, he came back and he was telling me how much he likes this, Max Payne 3. He said, unfortunately, it's only at 30 frames a second. But he loves this. I love this too. I played this when it first came out. The only level I never beat was the very last level on it. I beat all the levels right up until the last level, and I got stuck on something. I was trying to do it on a harder difficulty setting. I found all the gold gun parts except for the very last level, but really anxious to play this on the One X and see how much better it looks. It should play a little smoother. I'm sure the graphics look better on it, so I'm really excited about playing that soon. What else did I have here? So I think I showed all those, okay. Oh yeah, then I've got some PlayStation 4 games here. Railway Empire, the complete collection. This is one I've tried to get the day this came out, but I didn't get it. And I got this finally. I don't know where I found this from. I think my friend Al helped me to find this too. Thanks again, Al. You're invaluable. Sadly, the Boise area, it's a small town, like, a little over 500,000 people. The whole surrounding area maybe is just a couple 100,000 on top of that. So it's the biggest city in the state. So there's only 2 retro stores. They're very small. There's not a huge collection of games there. You have to kind of go each week, and if you're lucky, you'll occasionally see something cool, but most of the places are just inundated with gamers buying them up. So I haven't had the best luck looking for games locally. And there's a couple GameStops, 2 that I know of, and I think there's another one in Nampa, which I haven't been to yet, in a nearby town. But so it's hard for me to get a lot of games. If they don't have them at one of my 2 GameStops or my 2 retro stores, I'm kind of shit out of luck. So it's hard to find games, and I've had some help with Jeremy and then my other friend Al with helping to find some of these games that I just can't find here. But I did find one of my videos, I was alluding to this, that I was going to look to see if they had this game, and they did, and that was Immortals Phoenix Rising. Now, a lot of people say right off the bat it's a rip-off of that Breath of the Wild game. But I really like this kind of a Greek mythology that's in this, and it's its own thing. It has very similar combat and kind of visuals in some ways of that, but a lot more vibrant and colorful, and I really liked. I think this was going to be called Gods and Monsters, and I followed this development early on from Ubisoft and was really intrigued with this. So I have this installed in my system. I haven't played it yet, but I'm anxious to start one of these games. I want to start soon once I get off my kick with this GTA games. Alan Wake Remastered. Now, I haven't had a lot of money where I've been sick with COVID. So what I've been doing is I've been focusing on just buying the inexpensive budget games, like $30 to $40. And so the price of a $60 game, like I didn't get Far Cry 6, I really couldn't afford it, and I wanted to get the deluxe edition that came with all of the future DLC, but like I always get. But I just didn't have it. The new, the hell is it? The Hot Wheels Unleashed look really good too, but I just said I'm gonna have to hold off on that. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to focus on games that just, they're very limited print runs. Like this came out, I pre-ordered this. Now it's getting hard to find physical copies of this. A lot of people just bought it digitally. But I pre-ordered these to guarantee that I'd have them. And it's kind of my new pattern now, is that like Aliens Fireteam Elite, most people bought it online. I pre-ordered this because I wanted a physical copy. And I'm glad I finally got one. There's a lot of free DLC. They're updating this all the time. Last time I turned my PlayStation 4 Pro on, there was a big update for this with new game modes and free gun skins and, you know, new types of weapons, what have you. But this is a really good game. It's kind of a budget game. It's a kind of a horde mode game. Reminds me of those, Rebellion makes those, what are those Nazi zombie, Trilogy type games. Kind of reminds me of a horde mode like that, but really cool graphics. Jeremy, my friend, has played some of this and he's really enjoyed it. He was disappointed that it doesn't have like a better story mode, but I was telling him it's really a budget game. They just put all of their budget in just doing a really strong horde mode, and there's nothing more than that. Sadly, it's not the greatest story, but there are really good set piece moments from all the Alien universe, even going with the Prometheus. Even has some of the creatures and stuff. I don't want to give away too much, but there's some really cool things from all of the Alien movies, the good and the bad ones. So it gives you a pretty good variety. It's really good fan service. It kind of reminds me of the kind of fan service we saw with that Terminator Resistance. It's the same type of fan service you'll see in this. Great sounds, great graphics, really action-packed. More of an action game than like Alien Isolation, which is more of a creepy survival horror deal. Chernobylite. Now this is one I followed on for some time when it was on PC, and I heard that they were going to rumor to have it on console, so I waited and waited, and this has been like one of those Kickstarter things. It's taken them years to make this, and they're still updating it even now. They're fine-tuning things and putting new little side content in it, better graphics all the time with updates. This Chernobylite is really cool. We watched the Chernobyl on HBO Max. We finally got HBO Max. They lowered the price from like $30 to $15 a month. That's when we jumped on it. $15 a month, you get all of the Turner Classic Movies, the whole Warner Brothers library, and a lot of HBO specials like The Sopranos and Rome and all that kind of stuff. But they had a Chernobyl movie which we watched. It was one of the first things I watched on there. I was really impressed with this. Oops, I gotta change the battery pack. Hold on a sec, I'll be right back. Let me get my new battery in here. Sorry about that. I gotta change my battery pack on there. Hasn't been charging very good. It's going out earlier and earlier. I may have to get another one or another camera at some point, but got a lot of good mileage out of this camera. Anyway, I was talking about this Chernobylite. This is extremely limited print numbers. It's going to be, a lot of these games are going to go up in value. I'm finding that out now, where some of the games I'm wanting, even limited run games, are getting into the hundreds. Really expensive. Very cool game. It's a huge open world. There's a tremendous amount to this. A lot of like Fallout 4 base building, that kind of stuff. And really creepy. Not so much a survival horror, but there's a lot of horror type elements to it, and it's a very intense game. And there's like a spiritual dimension where you can go in and out of. Very cool. Check out some reviews of this. You might find it interesting. I'm really on this Warhammer kick, with a lot of these Warhammer games that I've been getting, like Space Marines, which I showed a minute ago. Well, they had this Necromunda is another kind of an offshoot of the Warhammer series. They have this Necromunda Hive. They have another game, I think it's a PC game you can already get based in that universe. Well, this is Necromunda Hired Gun. It's a really cool game. I remember Solid Rev showed something on this, and I got intrigued and started looking at footage of this, and I pre-ordered this. Again, this came out initially. What they're doing is they're coming out with these digitally first, and then after a month or 2 months, then they come out with physical, and so they get some people twice. They buy the digital version, and if they like it, they'll spend the money again for that, which I don't really care for that practice. I just wish they'd have the digital release at the same time as the physical release, but it is what it is. So I pre-ordered this and got this when it came out. I think it was either 30 or 40 bucks. Cheap, but very much like Doom. This is a hard game, very challenging. My friend Jeremy's already played some of it, and he's raved about it and likes it, but it's tricky, it's hard, and it's a really good level design, very complex, it's something that doesn't handhold you. You really have to watch some videos on strategizing, and there's lots of like side quests. It really behooves you to level up in this, or the harder levels later get really difficult. great weapon upgrades. It's a very, very fast paced, like Doom. If you love Doom and Doom Eternal, you'll love this hired gun. Now they've got patches that have fixed some of the buggy frame rate issues and stuff they had when early on, but it's much more solid now, and I'd really highly recommend this hired gun. Really a tough game. The same studio, it's a French studio, did this Deathwing, Space Hulk Deathwing, another Warhammer 40K game. This is kind of like you're a Terminator going on as aliens, you know, huge cathedral spaceships that they have in this Warhammer universe. And this is taken over by these aliens. It kind of reminds you of the aliens from the Alien movie. And you're like one of these super space marines that are going in there and exterminating them. You got, you know, flamethrowers. You've got these Boltar guns that like shoot out like a rocket launcher type ammo. I mean, it's really killer. And they're procedural generated level, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's kind of neat because the game will play different every time you play it. And each person that plays it will have experience enemies coming out of different areas at different times. So it's really creepy. Great atmosphere. They had some issues with it. It was kind of buggy when it first launched. But again, these games have been patched now. A lot of them play pretty good. This probably plays better on PC, but they couldn't get this on the Xbox. It's only on the PlayStation 4 for some reason. They couldn't get it to optimize well for some reason on the Xbox One X. So this is a PS4 and PS4 Pro only deal, but really a good game, highly recommended. And then Disco Elysium. I watched Carrot at ACG had raved about this, saying it was one of his favorite games of the year. So I was intrigued, and I just started watching his review and Skill Up and some other people that had reviewed it, and I really was impressed with more of a story-based RPG type game where it's like a crime and you're trying to solve it. You wake up, you're fucked up, you've been hungover, you don't have any clothes on, you don't know how you got there, and you've got to try to figure your way out. And you have instead of a skill tree, they've got these different attributes that you can take on mentally. Do you want to be more intelligent? You want to use more brawn? It has all these complex, kind of like a Fallout 4 in a way, with all of these charismatic, abilities, so you can, charm people better in conversations. There's lots of different ways you can go with this game, and there's just endless voice. There's just endless ways you can play the game. And every person you talk, you can take different stances with them, ask them different questions. So there's like an incredible amount of possibilities in how this game plays out. And there's political things in them, and crime and sex, and a lot of interesting. It's not a very adult game, but it really is intriguing. And this is one I want to kind of watch a few more videos on it. But the game, again, this was another game that I bought early and got it cheap because these are budget games, $30 to $40, and they're really going to be very limited production runs. So down the road, these will be hard to get and they'll be highly sought after. So I've kind of been focusing this year on that. They're a little bit cheaper, easier to get, where I know I could always get a Far Cry 6. That game will be 10, 12, 15 bucks someday, and I'll pick it up and get it. And normally I'd be happy to pay full price for the games that I like. But right now I got to kind of pick and choose, where work has been slow and my disability only went so far, sadly. But anyway, that's it for the PlayStation 4 games. I think I did my Xbox games. Oh, and the last game to show is, I just got yesterday, it was the 17th, and that's Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy Definitive Edition. This is for the Xbox One, or for my Xbox One X. Now, I have all the digital ones I ordered, or I got the first day they came out, that Thursday. They first came out, whatever date that was. So I've been playing this for weeks, and in my last video I talked about, what I liked about the game. And I want to spend the time to show you really more on this game by showing on the screen while I'm driving around and show you what I like. But again, I've seen just one bug in all that time. They fixed the rain issue. They fixed that invisible bridge that I had talked about. They fixed all the signage that had misspellings. And it's sad that the game came out before they could polish all that stuff the way it should have been. I have a feeling Take-Two was pressuring them, and the game got released early by a very small studio of 21 to 27 people in the dev team, as far as I know. So I was happy to buy this. I love the game so much on the PlayStation 4. I wanted to have it so that way I can play it in the bedroom, or I can play it out here. I've got one in my PlayStation 4, the digital ones, and then I installed this morning these. What's interesting is you don't have the option on the Xbox One to play this at performance or fidelity mode like you do with the PlayStation 4 Pro. For some reason, now on the Series X and S you can, but on this one, it only plays the 4K fidelity mode, but it also does, I think it does a lock 30 frames a second, which is fine for this game. This game never was 60 frames a second on PlayStation 2 anyway. In fact, it dropped down in like the 20s or the teens quite often on the PlayStation 2, as I remember it. You know, with GTA 3 especially. But I'm really enjoying these. I played, installed these last night. This morning I played GTA 3, did a few missions, and drove around, and it looks amazing in 4K. I've got a pretty, and I also played some Vice City, because I've got it fresh in my memory. Every night I've been playing it on the PlayStation 4 Pro in performance mode, where you play the higher frame rate, but the visuals are knocked down to like 1080p. But my God, in 4K, this looks amazing, super crisp. They look like brand new games. Excellent lighting on the One X, looks incredible. There's some differences, like with the reflections and shadow, like in the rain. The PlayStation 4 Pro has is really the best version of the game, even over the PlayStation 5 from what I've heard. So I've been loving the performance on it. But this looks good. Vice City and GTA 3 I played extensively this morning, went all over the maps to really see how they look. The frame rate was very solid, and the 4K graphics look so good. So, as you know, I love the GTA series. I have the first 3 games, the London game, GTA 1 and 2 in this box set for the PlayStation 1. I have all of the PlayStation 2 versions, Vice City and San Andreas, all with the maps, the booklets complete. I have Liberty City Stories, as well as the Vice City Stories. These are upwards over $100 now. These are $50 to $100. They're getting, and they're going up all the time. I don't know why. I got them for 20 each, complete, in perfect condition, super clean. They come with the maps, the posters, everything. I've never played these. The only thing I'm missing are the strategy guides for these 2 games. That I don't have. I have all the strategy guides for GTA 3 and up to 5, but I'm missing just for these 2. So that's going to be on my list to get. I certainly have the original Xbox. This is one of my prized possessions. It's my original Xbox Trilogy, and all in one set. And the Xbox is really are different versions. I saw a video showing the differences between the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox versions of this. They're substantial. Some of the cutscenes are panned differently, and the characters look different. On the new one, they actually copied most of the original Xbox version of the game. It's not the mobile port. Everyone says, oh, they just took the mobile port and just turned it over. It's actually not true. The games were taken initially from the Xbox version, and they have some of them. They've used some of the PlayStation 2 as well, and they're remastering them for mobile. And then since then, you know, they're taking that and they're redoing them on the new consoles, and now even for the new Android and Apple. I think they're going to make them for mobile ports. I think they're already out now. And for the Switch. So it's unfortunate they had a problem with the Switch copies. I really empathize with the people that bought either the PC or the Switch ports, because it's unfortunate that it turned out to be a nightmare. But anyway, I'm just thrilled to have the whole series of these. All the GTA games are just very cool. I've had more fun with these than probably any other series of games. Plus, I also have, I forgot to show these, I have all the Vice City CDs. Now, I don't have the original box. In the back then, I didn't care about collectability. I took the box and threw it in the trash and took the CDs and put them in my big CD rack where I had like 120 CD slots in it. I didn't care about saving the box and artwork and all that shit. Now that stuff's worth a shitload of money. But I have all of the radio stations. Flash FM. The Wave is one of my favorites. I love The Wave, is one of my favorites. And V-Rock as well. Those are my favorite stations. And Fernando Emotion station. And I forget which one this one was. I can't remember. This is like hip-hop or rap music, I think. Fever, 103 or something, pretty cool. And then the Esperanto, Latin type music, Cuban music, whatever, very cool. So these are, again, they're like my prized possessions. The CDs are in perfect condition, no scratches. And I play these. I actually would take these to LA. We take trips to LA. I'd put them in the car and play them on the way down. And so my collectibles are not just to look at. I believe in collecting games. I believe in collecting video game things like strategy guides and CDs. I actually use the things I collect. They're just not for, the status symbol where, look, I've got a complete Xbox collection. Now I'm going after a complete PlayStation 2 collection, And they never play the games. It's just a status thing. I saw it back in car collecting, and you're seeing it now with gaming where people are going overboard collecting console and console variants. Again, if my friends, some of them that collect consoles or controllers, I get it. I know it's fun to collect. It's fun finding something new and buying it and getting it and putting it in your collection. But it's becoming very competitive, and people with deep pockets that are literally wealthy can spend $10K on a rare Xbox console like nothing. I mean, I'm priced out now. I can't get one of those Mountain Dew original Xboxes. They were affordable a couple years ago. Now they're $500 or $1,000. And that crystal blue Canadian one, which I'd also like to get, megabucks now. I don't know if I can afford one. I could literally buy a brand new, PlayStation 5 for what some of those original Xbox consoles go for now. Very expensive. So, unfortunately, the collecting thing, and a lot of people, in these groups on Facebook, they just collect for the sake of collecting. They don't even play the games, or they collect just sealed games and they're never going to open them. Well, what good are they? It's like having a car that you're in a car show and you trailer it everywhere. You don't, God forbid, you actually drive it to the car show. You got to be a trailer queen and have it trailered in. I mean, to me, it defeats the whole idea of having a muscle car. If you can't listen to it and do a burnout once in a while and a couple donuts in the middle of the street, it's not worth having. But that's just me. I'm more of a pragmatic collector. I only collect the games that I'm going to play, and I only collect games that I like. So I don't get a whole set of Xbox games or every Wii U game. But what I will do is I'll get like every Star Wars game, let's say, for the 6th gen, or I'll get all of the James Bond, all 5 original Xbox James Bond 007 games. Those I'll collect. All the Max Payne games. A series like GTA, I'll certainly collect all those. But they're games that I actually play. I'm looking forward to playing Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories. I've never played them. I'm going to try to get the strategy guides first if I can, and then play those. I just kind of ignored them because at first I thought they were PSP games, which they were. I had no idea that they had, ported them over to console, which is very cool. But anyway, that's my pickups video. I thought I'd share this with you before Christmas. Thank you very much for your support. I'm still have a lot of fatigue and fighting the migraines. I have a new headache medicine now. I haven't taken it yet. I take it only at night because it makes me really kind of tired and dizzy. But it does help with the migraines, and I can really get into a nice groove playing my video games on them. They just make me real tired. After like 90 minutes of playing a game, I'm like nodding off. So still got some health issues, but I'm working them out. And pretty soon I'll be back physically working. I'm going to have to push through this fatigue, and it's going to take a lot of mental force and stamina to try to push through. It's like trudging in the ocean, when you're trying to get somewhere and you just feel like you're being slowed down. That's how I've been so fatigued lately. I wash my car after 90 minutes. I'm ready to take a nap for 2 hours. I'm just exhausted. So it's going to be hard getting back into a physical type job, but it's going to be partial physical work, and then a good portion of it is managing up to 3 teams and 3 different projects at a time. So I have a lot of responsibility with this job, and a lot will come with it. I'll share more about it when things pick up, and I get on board here. After 30 days, I'm going to get a huge wage increase and then get a new company truck or van, and it's going to be really cool. It's a great job. I'm really excited about it. But anyway, I wanted to have at least one more video. I still want to do my top favorite 10 and top 20 Xbox 360 video, which I'll do soon. And I still want to sit down with this and show you guys just how cool these are. These have been patches, 3 patches. Patch 102, 103, and 1.04 so far in this. And all of the issues that I know of have been fixed. Now there could still be some bugs, or some people in certain consoles or PC could still be experiencing some issues. But from what I've heard, especially with the PlayStation 4 and the PS4 Pro, it's very stable and very good. And it looks really good on the Xbox One X. I'm really impressed, very impressed. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful Christmas and enjoy your games.